Hello again, everyone. Melth here, with more of my Baldur's Gate 3 challenge run, exploring some of the more secret areas of Moonrise towers. I'll be finding some quite obscure and secret items here. Indeed, literally obscure in at least one case, because one of these items is defined by its shadowy nature. I'll also be doing some battles I just found out about myself recently. Should be pretty fun. But, on top of my usual challenges, details of which are in the YouTube video description, I'll also be ramming headfirst into a bug that seems to cause crashes in this area, so should be pretty tough to get through that. Watch out for spoilers throughout this run. Now, as far as I can tell, the crash zone seems to be near where the kitchen is on this side, and also under part of Balthazar's room on the upper level, and perhaps other sections too. I'm not honestly certain, but my plan is to spend as little time there as possible.
Well, hello.
So I have unequipped Astarian's good combat gear and given him these gloves and ring that are only good for lockpicking things. My plan basically is to have Astarian lead the way and just charge through, pick the lock on the other side of Balthazar's room and run out and hopefully make that my staging area after doing a quick save there. So hopefully if I crash, at least I'm crashing back to that spot near his room rather than all the way back down here. Alright, let's make a break for it. Out of the way, Ogre, I've got locks to pick. Don't open that one, that leads back to a heavily policed hallway. Alright, button mashing time. Failed. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, hit inspiration there instead of lockpicks. Whoops, there we go. Okay. Go, 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 go! I don't know what stairs have to do with it, but here we are. Okay. So, going to put on actual combat gear again. So here we are on one of the many balconies of this tower. Pretty cool. I think I want to have maybe just Ballista run in for this next bit, so I can keep everyone else out here and decrease the amount of clutter. Let's just try to loot one thing at a time, get out and save. Okay, alchemy stuff, fine, we'll take it. Yeah, before we go in, let's actually read some of these books out here. I don't know why this is still on fire after all this time. But, you know, I guess Ketheric is burning his Shar books now that he is instead devoted to Merkel. And it's been on fire for who knows how long. In any case, my plan now is I'm going to have just Ballista and Astarian, the main damage dealers for the one fight in there, run in, grab stuff, run out, and save.
Pave my path with corpse.
Get over here and get the moon lantern.
For me.
Astarian, pick that chest. Terrible cloak.
Best get going.
Here is documentation about death within to the goblins with their, parasites and whatnot, but we can't, take that down and use that to dissuade the goblins from serving the absolute, even though they're questioning things down below. Alright, let's get out there and save again.
Carry me.
By the way, one neat thing, you can get up here by other means too. If you jump up across some of the scaffolding and whatnot, there are several ways to access this place. Moonrise Towers is a cool 3D environment that way. Alright, now, as the spike holes on the floor and things like that indicate, this place is pretty thoroughly booby-trapped, and there are books in here telling us that basically you're not meant to be interfering with this stuff. I think this one is the one that makes these guys rise as zombies. Let's read that one. Alright. That was easy.
Let's move.
They weren't worth any XP, apparently. I guess because it was so easy. There's a human heart, which we need to open one of these doors. I don't know why only this body has a heart. That's why it keeps the place a mess.
How do people do this?
This is to warn people away from the booby-trap bookshelf, basically.
Here we go.
And this relates to, I believe, the Dark Urge here. we're starting to read this one, it crashed before. Let's try our luck.
This time, the symbols, the Prince of the
We got this far.
faithful roar. The Prince of the Comet is not dead. The Prince of the Comet will come again. The Prince of the Praise be to Mother Gith, Queen of the
So they still, of course, venerate the horrible Gith.
This disc might be of some...
Alright, let's run on out there and save again. Now, normally for roleplay purposes, I wouldn't bring Gale with me into the next room until I actually know what's going on there, but this time, for the sake of not running into many bugs and crashes, I'm going to just swap Gale into the party right now so we can experience this thing and then get back to Karlach after that. There he is. Come on, Gale. Long-range conversation.
I'm listening. Oh, nothing would give me greater pleasure. Which of our esteemed company am I step? Magical.
So, if we run back on in here, one of these rows is Musty Tomes. There we go. That's the one that allows us to interact with that altar, which then allows us to stick the heart that we retrieved onto it. So that then opens up this back section here, with some random chest. You know what, let's just pick it up. Can I carry it? Great, we'll loot that later on. Research notes. So this is about what we know about the general's invulnerability, that's great information and so forth. No more was supposed to be disturbed. We already find out several of his relatives are on the loose.
The source of Ketheric's immortality.
Many broken moonlighters.
Was experimenting on the tadpoles.
A goblet filled with the mutilated corpses
But they
of
were
Elixir
already
parasites.
imbued with Nethery's magic.
Whatever ungodly
So where
experiments
did that
were
magic
performed
come
on them
from?
likely killed them.
Now, of course, you know exactly where it came from, Dream Visitor. You're just playing ignorant for your own
Ritual
reasons here.
circle. Judging by the shadow sigils inscribed, it was used in the
So here's where things get interesting. If you have Gale in the party, and only with Gale in the party, you can get this totally unique lantern.
You could still use the shattered pixies Balthazar discarded.
As it says there, it does not help at all dealing with the shadows. It's not all that useful, but it is fun and unique.
The shadows, but to wield them.
I don't know where Balthazar got all these pixies, come to think of
forbids
it.
the use of such magic. She would insist the sigils be destroyed. The circles.
You know, if this is... There's like 3 things called shadow magic in Forgotten Realms, who cares about that? But if this is the one that relates to Shar's Shadow Weave, which it might be, then it is a little bit odd that, you know, these people who are now rejecting Shar would be using it. Getting worried about how much time has passed here. There we go. Cool stuff. Yeah, I'd love to talk, Gale. Let's get out into the fresh air. How about that? I'm worried they've forgotten some secrets in there, and valuables and whatnot, but I'm just trying to avoid further crashes because they've been a real nuisance to record around. I've had a couple here so far. Okay, how about I talk to you now, Gale?
If Mistra were here, I don't think she'd be best pleased with me for doing that.
Mistra is everywhere. She's just really bad at being anywhere.
Still, I'm sensing no signs of any divine retribution incoming. I'm quite sure what to make of that.
Gods must be lazy.
A valid and most astutely observed point. So long as I have her mission ahead of me, I suspect she'll not want to distract me with any undue moralizing. It may not be the most savory kind of magic, but it will taste sweet enough.
It is a moderately interesting item, so I'm going to go ahead and use it.
We're up against the greatest threat Faerun has ever
Valid
faced.
point, Gale.
I don't mind getting my hands dirty if it gives us a better chance of surviving. Refusing to compromise my morals would be a rather selfish thing, given how many lives are at stake.
We're certainly using all kinds of Shar powers here. Shar's like the only goddess who really gives you any kind of actual help throughout the plot. Like,
We have many more shadows to face before we reach the heart of the Absolute.
alright, let us take that Shadow Lantern. The problem with it is it takes up your weapon slot and doesn't provide any illumination, so it's really not very good here. But let's go to camp and get Karlach back.
Have I been this way before?
What were the skeletons doing before I got here? Suspicious.
What's on your mind?
About our relationship of we cuddled one time.
You know I'm up for it.
I don't know when I need to break that off to continue things with Minthara. Alright, looks like she's got all the same buffs as before. All should be well, I believe. Alright, well hopefully I haven't left too many fun things
What to do?
untouched in Balthazar's lair there. Let's get everyone grouped back up.
No, never mind.
And now let's give you the Shadow Lantern. And that I doubt everyone out there knows about. Next up, Minthara, how about you use the Shadow Lantern and conjure us up a shadow? Where's that item? Back on, there it is. So it says it needs a body, it does not. You just go ahead and you create a shadow for yourself. Full strength, pretty neat. It can also do its strength rain attack here, which is occasionally valuable. Let's give it some power-ups.
There can be no respite.
And now, at long last, I think I actually want to cast Aid on the whole party and power up everyone with a lot of extra hit points. I could wait till level 5, but I think level 4 spell slot is a pretty good amount of extra hit points to give them. That helps something like a raven a lot. Wait, why do you have 2 ravens? Is that a bug? Yeah, it must be some kind of display bug. I think I saw that once before in the past. Alright, so there we go. There's the party. We've got an undead horde. Not quite this large. It's doubling the number of pets and whatnot. And we've got the party that I talked about in my build video, of course. I think we're going to leave a lot of these summons behind just for the sake of simple traveling. I'm going to cast Enhanced Leap and show up an encounter I just found out about recently. There's only a fairly minor encounter up here, so I'll only bring along the people who I need to, I guess. If others can't make it, that's fine. They'll survive.
Attention.
Now, in my experience, pathing on this area around the outside of Moonrise Towers is absolutely god-awful, and your characters often just choose to deliberately walk off cliffs for no reason whatsoever. So do bear that possibility in mind. One time I took like 50 damage from that, where I told someone to walk across like a small gap, and they said, "Oh, you mean climb up a 100-foot ladder then deliberately walk off of it? I can do that." Okay, here we go. Where we'll find now some flying ghouls. I didn't even know were up here until like just today. Pretty cool that way. Oh, they're talking about the cat and stealing meat from how they don't want to because it's so scary. The ghouls down below talk about that too. The cat is dead now, of course. That was an absurd dialogue, but...
We hunger, true soul. The absolute promise.
Ghouls being motivated, you know, by hunger is kind of like the one constant about ghouls across D&D editions.
Liar! They drop corpses beneath the tower.
So that's down to the oubliette.
In the tunnels gets fat.
They just leave them there to rot, actually, which is weird. You'd think they would feed them to the ghouls. Unless the biomass is useful to the elder brand or something.
Tear it from the backs of the living.
As the symbol glows, power courses through you.
I don't know why a bunch of ghouls would be vulnerable to this kind of mind control. Like, they should be under, I think, like Merkel or the Necromancer's influence or something, but not Mind Flayer tadpoles. But we'll just go ahead and attack them anyway.
You scar my mind.
I don't think these guys have that much to do with that, Minthara, I gotta say. Alright, so that target should affect all 3 of them. I want to basically just soften them up so that Star can finish them off easily. I didn't plan to use a real fireball, it just has the same AoE as the smoke powder bombs, so it's a good way to test what will work.
The dance macabre.
Alright.
Time to move.
33 is the lowest one. This has a good chance to kill outright. Let's go for it. And then that'll power me up by giving me... Okay. That did not give me a bloodless kill because it didn't count as a kill because I got it with Cold the Weak, but it did power me up by giving me my Arcane Boost, Arcane Synergy, give me another +5, so the subsequent damage will be much higher. So this should probably just kill them all easily. There we go, now I got extra attack too. Alright, wasn't too tough. I don't think there's something notable to loot up here. Let me know if I'm missing anything. But I believe we're basically dead-ended at this point. I don't think that ornate door is on this floor, unless I'm mistaken about that. And I think the other way around on the outside of the roof just kind of leads to roots and whatnot. But still, a cool place up here. I'm glad I'm still finding out things about this game, even after all the exploration I did in my first run. Alright, let's get back to the others. It also is just kind of satisfying to have follow-up, I guess, to how, yeah, the ghouls down below whining about the flying ghouls stealing from them. I kind of figured that was mostly just foreshadowing for how you'll encounter flying ghouls with Marcus and whatnot, and later on you can summon them yourself. But apparently it also referred to there actually being some up here in this tower, so that's kind of neat. Speaking of the ghouls down below, I've mentioned I don't really know which battles in this tower are ruined by when the big battle with the Harpers begins. I want to do things in the hardest way for my challenge. So I want to fight the maximum number of enemies. I don't really know for sure which enemies will be just dead when the Harper ambush begins versus which ones will not be. And therefore I don't necessarily know what the best ones to fight now versus when the Harper battle begins are. So let me know if you know which enemies are alive or dead when we get the Harper battle at the end of these Shar trials. Alright, let's have these two jump down.
Can't give up now.
Group everybody back up. I'm going to save it here because I'm not honestly confident that we're not going to run into more crash zones through that door. I don't know what the actual crash zone is. I'm kind of thinking it's around the kitchens or Balthazar's room, but it's been outside them before, so we'll see. This is a tough door, but a Starian can get through. I could give him his lockpicking gear, but I'm not going to bother. That's probably sufficient. Yeah, there we go.
Wretched thing.
In there, we'll meet the General's undead dog, which is pretty interesting, I would say. A fun little encounter. Gives you some lore. I will not be fighting the dog here, because I believe it can be fought in the boss battle against Ketheric, which will, of course, be a more challenging grouping for it, so I want to do that instead. Haven't tried this before, so I'm not entirely sure what will happen.
Do you take me for a teething pup? Get that out of my face. Though whichever whelp owns that thing smells happy. Safe. I've not
I don't know about safe. He said the Shadow Curse lands with us, right?
Since my master brought me back, this place smells wrong. His family is gone, replaced by bootlickers.
I don't know why this dog keeps, its original personality, whereas most undead don't. But it just makes for a fun roleplay opportunity, I guess.
True. What is your purpose here? I protect my master. What becomes of his master, I care not.
Surprising for a dog with a military idea of things, apparently. In any case, here we have the missive from Gortash, which spells out their plan. And again, it's written evidence about what Gortash is doing, but we can't take this to Floric, because she's conveniently gone by this point. We already had plenty of incriminating evidence with his name signed on it already before we could talk to her, and we just couldn't show it to her. Alright, so there's the artifact and so forth. And we'll find out later on the two of them are really being manipulated.
Anything of use?
Let me go through your boss's things here. How about that? Ah, this is interesting. So, I mean, really, as we read this basically tells us everything else we needed to know about what their plan is, who's going to be betraying who, and what will happen in the entire rest of the game. So if you've read this, there aren't really any plot twists from here. Illithid Elderbrain, we'll find out that it's morphing under the influence of the three Netherstones, we'll find out they plan to betray each other, and so forth. And so that basically spells out, everything. Oh, that reminds us, I should probably drop that chest we picked up and we can just loot that thing.
Keep a blade close. Oh, for a skeleton key.
So in Crush It with Frost, again, it's kind of an interesting condition. The Morning Frost staff can inflict it, and it sounds pretty cool, and the idea of making enemies frozen is pretty cool, but the trouble is that frozen ends at the beginning of the enemy's turn, basically, and so it doesn't end up being actually useful. I might keep that. There's enough places here where we need to have necrotic resistance that it's worth something. Now this is a good cloak. And this, of course, so I believe that his wife Melody died of natural causes, but then something violently killed Isabel. Maybe Shar was behind that to make sure that, he went evil, but I don't think that's ever really confirmed anywhere, so that's kind of speculation on my part. Good reminder that in this universe, the afterlife is verifiably real, you can talk to people there, you can even visit them and whatnot, so Ketheric really kind of overreacted.
It's beautiful. Imagine what she'd think if she saw him now.
So, Absorb Elements is one of the more powerful spells that was added, I think, in Xanathar's Guide for 5th edition. Even getting it once per short rest is really, really strong. Just having incoming damage, and then you also have to do a bit of minor damage too. The important thing is just having damage from an attack, from an elemental attack that is really, really valuable. Minthara has a more important cloak right now. We could put it on Karlak because she has fewer ways to generate temporary hit points than Ballista does. So damage on her is kind of more for keeps.
Never a dull moment. I'm gonna need more pockets. This does.
Yeah, I'm not actually 100% sure which of the things he's talking about here. He hasn't sent it, I suppose, so perhaps it's meant for when he completes his mission. But in any case, this book over here is kind of the corresponding one to another book that we found earlier that I mentioned. I think we found the previous one in the Arcane Tower. So Amaps wrote the other one, kind of criticizing how much Swelto favors warfare and so forth. Ketheric doesn't really justify his wars in any kind of way like that. He just does whatever Mirko tells him to because Mirko brought his daughter back to life. Or unlife, rather. Oh, darn it. Did someone else read that thing? Basically, it's just information about how he'll take on his Merkle form. Well, that's not really very informative, is it? Okay, I guess passing that was pointless. That's a weird looking door. Cloud Kill is a moderately useful spell, except that many enemies are just immune to it, so...
Be running.
This, I believe, is Isabel's bedroom. And there's a mimic in there with a useful item that I want to get. So let's go ahead and have Astarion pick that thing open. The other door will lead back to the main area where you keep being kicked out, because you're not supposed to be here.
Time to press ahead.
Alright. It's a mimic. Oh.
I see.
Hoping to attack it first, but that's fine. We've got so many gajillions of guys here, it doesn't even matter. The guards won't notice any of this going on and won't hear the commotion. Yeah, let's give our new shadow friend a chance to play. Probably just necrotic claws are fine here.
On your command.
Yeah, even with like disadvantage, I'm still gonna just hit. It's pretty easy to build for accuracy by this point in the game. Which is one reason that I've always thought that people kind of overrate Tavern Brawler and monks and people that use it, because it's really useful at the beginning of the game when accuracy is a little bit scarcer. But here, by the time we get to Act 2, let alone Act 3, it's so easy just to be auto-hitting every enemy without even really trying. Like, Astarion has a -5 to hit from Sharpshooter, and he still basically auto-hits a lot of enemies. So, letter to Isabel from Isabel's mother. Happy to have the elixir. Happy to have those. And here is a pretty nifty item for me. I'm going to put that on and have another way to inflict reverberation. And reverberation is a decent status condition. It not only does it make people weak to dexterity and constitution saving throws, which have some important crowd control, spells under that umbrella, but also you can knock enemies prone. And doing that at range is worth a fair amount sometimes. This kind of is reference to Shadowheart's stuff, I suppose, basically, where Shadowheart's father was a lycanthrope who kind of got control of his power because of Selûne.
In death.
Not draggable. And I guess Isabel had a doorway out here to the outside of the tower, where there are more scaffoldings and things like that you can climb around, which is, again, pretty neat. I like that you can explore the outside of this place. So here's where we're supposed to be able to see the army of the Absolute gathered. I think due to the shadow, we can't actually see that from here, but when we go out thereabouts in the physical world, we can see the army out there.
I'll be cursed.
Melodia Thorn, loving mother, beloved wife. Her light will never be forgotten.
Not bad. I've had better days.
Remember when you had your own face instead of being permanently in disguise? I remember. Well, I think that's all I'm going to explore for now of Moonrise Towers. I've done all the quests here, I've obtained all the secret things here that I'm aware of. Let me know if I have things that I've missed, of course. I want to know also which enemies will be easier or harder to fight now versus when the Harpers show up. Because, as I said, some enemies I think are just dead when the Harpers arrive, some vanish. I want to fight everything and fight them in the hardest grouping with as many reinforcements as they could possibly have available, basically. So, I need to know which is the toughest grouping before I start picking fights around here.
Looking ahead.
Thank you for watching. And a special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Master Knight DH, Jackie, and Lino, Travis, Carlo Andrea 97, Cthulhu's Mom, Oliver, Andrew Curzon, Trubsy, Skill Rap, Gregory, William Wakefield, Danny Hall, Jeffrey Morse, Just, Becca, Jack, Mashas01, Jacob Marshall, Nubiana, Till Fisher, Discord Colossus, Nicholas Schmuck, Kostia Nesterovich, Goman Blackrock, Dodo King 4, Marcin Bialek, Techno Waffle, Nebular, I Loop, Michael Francis, Emperor Kong 420, Robin Mackey, Micken Balls, Stygian Flamey, Micah Marie, Christopher Allen, Stefan Van Zyl, Eddie, Wendy, Ali Kasamoglu, Lucas Riverola, Skylar Sauce, Nick Myers, Bethany James, Emp Ninjas, Prebin, Mango Jelly, and Chupaton. Have a great day, everyone.